To understand the systems that made Zach's story possible, you have to understand the history of this place. In Gray's Harbor, the amount of profit generated by the felling of old-growth forests was staggering. Men broke their bodies and often lost their lives doing incredibly dangerous labor, while the timber barons amassed incredible wealth. Workers lived in houses slapped together on a swamp, while the cities of the West Coast were built on their labor. This reality forms the backdrop to any understanding of the stories this book tells. Capitalism relies on labor being as cheap as possible to increase profits. In order for capitalism to regulate the labor market and maximize profit, a vast army of unemployed workers must be available when work does arise. Once the resource, in this case trees, becomes more scarce, the communities built around that industry are cast off and become a sort of abandoned zone. This forces a vast number of people to survive or die outside the formal economy. In its past, Aberdeen was a hotbed for union organizing among timber workers. But as less labor was needed, prisons expanded their population. In the last 40 years, as extraction jobs like timber or fishing have either become less important or more mechanized, prisons have become a kind of warehouse for the unemployed, a place to funnel people from cast-off zones. Since 1968, the number of sentenced inmates in U.S. state and federal prison of all races has grown exponentially. From 187,914 in 1968 to 1,458,000 in 2016. In practice, this means that young people in poor communities are forced into an illegal underground market economy to survive because there are no jobs. Then they are fed into a prison system where they provide a nearly free labor force to corporate and government contracts. For young people in Gray's Harbor, the drug economy is king. Drugs are big business and becoming bigger business by the day. When I was young, Aberdeen was one of the meth capitals of the country, with hundreds of entrepreneurs mixing up batches of toxic chemicals to keep loggers and truckers awake and to make thousands dependent on a pipe or a needle. Now drugs stream into the region from all over the world.